Good morning, scholars. Today we're going to continue our way looking at lines 53 to 58 of Book 1 of the Iliad. Ene nar menanastraton oiketoke late oio te decate agorende kalesato laon achilius toiga epifresente ke dealuko lenos here ke detogardana on hotira thneskon tesorato hoi depi un egeten homegere este genonto toise danistamenos metepe podasocusacilius. Okay, again. Enema men anastraton oiketoke late oio te decate dagorende kalesato laon achilleus to ga epifresete ke le a lugolenos here ke detoga dana on hotira nesconta sorato hoi depe un egeten homegere este genonto toi sedanis damenos prosepe podasocus achilius. Okay, so we start off with anemar, which is a compound of the word enea, 9, and hemar, hemaratos, which is for day. So it is an accusative of this compound, which ends up meaning for now 9 days. He enemar. And at Smiles 1582, we see this explained that the accusative of a temporal expression denotes the extent of time. So we have these examples. Emenen hemeras hepta, he remained 7 days. Emenen hemeras hepta, and so we have the accusative plural hemeras of hemere, day as well. Emenen hemeras hepta, he remained 7 days. And then second example, sumakian epoiesanto hekaton ete. They made an alliance for 100 years. Sumakian epoiesanto hekaton ete. And so Smythe explains in 1583, the accusative of time implies that the action of the verb covers the entire period. When emphasis is laid on the uninterrupted duration of an action, para with the accusative and dia with the genitive are used. The accusative of time is rarely employed where the dative is properly in place. And then he gives an example from, Aeschines. Okay, so enema men anastraton oiketoke late oio. So we have anastraton, an expression we've seen already, through the camp. Oiketo, imperfect of oikomai, which is to take or make one's way, proceed, here of a material object. And a kalon, kelu, ta, neuter, is a missile here of Apollo's arrows. So enemamen anastraton oiketoke late oio. An important point is that a plural neuter in Greek takes a singular verb form. So this oiketo is your third singular form, and don't be confused by the fact that its subject, kela, is in the plural. because in Greek you just have this thing where a neuter plural takes a singular verb. Okay. Then here we have the dative. I didn't finish the title here, I apologize. But dative of the time at which. So te decate, the dative denotes the time at which an action takes place and the date of an event. So the accusative of the time expression denotes that something happened over the extent of the time, whereas a dative of the time expression denotes the time at which it happened. So te decate, dative of time at which, and then agorende, you have text editors who interpret this as even I printed here. I've grabbed this from off the internet. He takes the de not to be the suffix denoting direction into which, but he takes the de as simply being the connective. But most modern editors read the de, they attach it to the agorende and see it as the place to which, because it would be very awkward to have this da, separated by one word. I don't think well, it must be possible, or the earlier editors wouldn't have offered it because their Greek was quite good. But nevertheless, I read with the modern editors who see it this as being the suffix of direction. So tein decatein dagorende kalesatola on Achilleus. So Achilles summoned the host. He summoned the army. So kalesato, third singular first aorist, from kaleo to summon. The middle here stresses Achilles' initiative and leadership, because we see from Smythe's note at 1728 differences between the active and the middle. As contrasted with the active, the middle lays stress on conscious activity, bodily or mental participation of the agent. So this was Achilles' decision. Te decate dagorende kalesatolaon Achilleus. And just a glance at the Smythe's entry for the principal parts of kaleo. We see kaleo, then kalo for the future. This is a special thing that occurs with liquid verbs, the future of those. So you can consult 539a. And then first aorist, ekalesa, the perfect, kekleka, the middle of the perfect, keklemai, and then the aorist passive, ekletein, the future passive, klete samai, future perfect, kekle samai. And down you see some, as always, Smythe gives you some of the epic forms that one might see. It's interesting to note here that this, you see at the bottom line, second from the bottom line, ekalesa with the double sigmas. Aristotle actually uses, it appears in Aristotle as well. So here we have te decate agorende kalesatolaon Achilleus. And so for our next line begins togar epiphrase decete a leukoleno sera. The togar for to him Achilles. This dative is she placed into his mind, on Achilles' behalf, for Achilles, to Achilles' mind, she placed this idea. And here we see the gar, as we've seen it several times. We saw it earlier, hogar, basilei kolotes, hogar, elte thoas epi ne asakayon, both for Apollo, the reason why Apollo had struck the army because he was mad at the king, the reason why Agamemnon had insulted the priest because he came answering his daughters, for he came, Hogar, Hogar. So this definite article serving as demonstrative before some type of connecting particle, Hogar, Toigar, is going to be a very common transitional hinge in our narrative, as we'll see. So causal gar is a conjunction and means for, like Latin nam or enem. It serves to introduce a cause of or a reason for an action that has just been mentioned, or to justify a preceding utterance, or to confirm the truth of a previous statement. Causal gar often refers to the thought implied in what has preceded. So, toi ga epiphresen de kete aleukolenos hera. This explains why Achilles called the assembly, because Hera put it into his mind. So we have phrein, phrenos, feminine, which means the midriff, which the Greeks view as the seat of consciousness, emotion, and will, unlike us who think of the brain as being where all those places originate. And so phrein, phrenos, can appear either in the singular or the plural without distinction of sense, since the organ was regarded as a double one, and the plural occurs more frequently than the singular. And then we have theika, which is the third singular second aorist of titeme, and so toga epiphresen dekate aleukolenos here. And just to review and see some of what we've accomplished so far, we'll look at some of the forms of the second aorist of titeme. So very important are these active forms: eteka, etekas, eteke. These forms with kappa occur in a few verbs, a handful of verbs, so they're important to recognize. But then you revert to the other form of the stem with epsilon in the plural: etemen, etete, etesan. So eteka, etekas, eteke, etemen, etete, etesan. And then in the middle, you see our endings: etemen, etu, again that disappearance of sigma, eteto, etemeta, eteste, etenton. So in the middle, the epsilon remains as the vowel before the ending all the way through. But then look at the imperatives. We have that sigma in the imperative of the active: thes, theto, thete, theton, and then tu, the middle form that we've just seen: tu, desto, deste, deston. Okay, very good. So then we have the wonderful epithet for Hera and other women: leukolenos, leukolenos. So we're imagining the wonderful arms, white arms displayed beneath the robes. Okay, and then kedomai, a middle, in the middle refers to, means to be solicitous for the welfare of, to care for someone. So you have, you read that from Smythe 1356, that the genitive occurs with a whole slew of verbs of caring and such. So, and then we have, after this kedeto gardana on, we get the explanation: hotirath ne skontes horato, hotirath ne skontas horato. And I believe this is our first appearance of hoti, introducing a causal clause. And causal clauses are introduced by several words in Greek. We see here Smythe 2240. They're introduced by hote, de oper, and then epe, epede, hote with epsilon, hopote, and then by simple hos. And if you look at this actual entry in Smythe, he explains how these spread across the various authors. And then the negative of a causal clause is u, omicron upsilon. Now, causal clauses denoting a fact regularly take the indicative after both primary and secondary tenses. So here we have horato, the present indicative, no, I'm sorry, imperfect indicative, because she was seeing, okay, kedeto gardana on hotiras ne skontes horato. So what's up with this ne skontas? Do people recognize what that is? Well, ne skontas is a masculine plural accusative present participle. So it's the plural accusative present participle of the masculine, sko. And as I've said, orato is an imperfect middle of orao. And note, Homer does not need to employ the augment, and thus you have to look at the ending, the tau omicron, to know you're dealing with a secondary tense, a past tense. Kedeto gardanaon hotiras ne skontas horato. Now, this expression, ne skontas horato, we see the example of the supplementary participle that's not an indirect discourse, because it says she was seeing them dying. She's actually seeing them. So Smythe 2110, verbs of perception. Verbs signifying to see, to perceive, to hear, to learn, when they denote physical, actual perception, take the participle. When they denote intellectual perception, they may take the participle, or they may take hoti or hos with a finite verb. And then he says in parentheses, the Homeric usage is less strict. So I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but we see that the such verbs in Attic are horo, to see, aistanomai, perceive, akuo, to hear, puntanomai, to learn. And so here we have the participle, he says at 2112, the participle may stand either not in indirect discourse or in indirect discourse. And so he says, when it is not in indirect discourse, here verbs of perceiving denote physical perception, the act perceived or heard of. With akuo and puthanomai, the participle stands in the genitive. With aithanomai, it usually stands in the accusative, as with orao, but sometimes in the genitive. But the point here is that the poet is imagining Hera actually, from Olympus, looking down, telescoping her vision down to the camp of the Achaeans and seeing them dying and being very upset by that, and therefore putting into the mind of Achilles this idea of calling an assembly to get to the bottom of why this plague has come upon the Achaeans. Okay, so here we have agero in the third plural of the aorist passive. This is agerten, the third plural, first aorist passive. Hoi depeun agerten, homogeres te genonto, and then homegeres, nominative plural masculine of homegeres, gathered together, assembled. So you see that this is just cool to show how closely related all these forms are. You see agerten, the aorist passive. You see agero, the present stem, collect, to gather. And then you see the word agore, the gathering place or the assembly place itself, or even the gathering. And then this compound, homegeres, home, altogether, the meaning a shortened form of homu altogether, plus agero, homo egeres, when they were all gathered together. Home geres tegenonto. Okay, so again, just to look at the principal parts of agero, you see the aorist, first aorist, agera, but then you have these epic middle forms, and finally, you see at the third line the aorist passive ageatain, the form that we are looking at now. Hoi depeun ageaten, home gera este genonto. And so genonto is the third plural imperfect of gignomai, which can often just mean simply to be or to become. So when they became gathered, when they got all gathered together. Anistamenos is the middle participle of from anisteme or anistemai, which means here in the middle to rise to speak, and metape is to speak among or to address. So toise danis damenos metape podos okus akileus. And so this anistamenos is going to take a dative. He rose and addressed them. He rose to address to them. Toise de anistamenos. That's kind of difficult to get used to, but it's seen enough that you, excuse me, you will get used to it. Okay, so regarding the metape, let's look at the conjugation of peme, which is irregular. And you see the indicative has these forms where, again, there is a variation of the length of the stem vowel between the singular and the plural. So in the singular, you see the eta. In the plurals, you see the alpha. Peme, peis, peise. But then the plural, pamen, pate, pase. And many of those forms are enclitic. And then in the subjunctive, you see the subjunctive endings that we've learned, po, peis, pe, pomen, poete, pose. And then in the imperative, we haven't seen the optative yet, so I won't worry about that. In the imperative, we see the forms of the theta iota. So you have pate or pate. The accent can go either way. Pate, say, speak. And then pato, pate, banton, let them speak. But here we're dealing with the imperfect. Epein, epesta, or epes, epe, epamen, epate, epasen. So toisi dananistamenos, epepe podas okus akileus. So looking at these forms of peme, you see quite a bit that you've already learned. And like I say, these irregular verbs are, especially these me verbs, you just need to refer to them and refresh them again and again. So to end up our vocabulary, you have pous, podos, we've seen this before, foot, okus, okea, oku, swift, an adjective, which we'll look at the declension of in a second, and then podos, okus, swift-footed or swift with respect to his feet, your standard much celebrated epithet of Achilles. Toisi denes damenos metape podas okus akileus. So the declension of okus, we see its decline after the manner of hedus, hedus, eos, un, u in the masculine, hedea, as, I, an, a in the feminine, and then the neuter, hedu, os, e, u. So hokus here is our masculine nominative singular. I have just not displayed the plurals. You can look at those yourself. I just didn't want to overwhelm you. So toisi danis damenos metape podos okus akileus. Okay. So again, enema men anastraton oiketoke late oio te decate agoren decales satola on akileus toi da epifrase teke de alukolenosere ke de toga dana on hotirat ne skon tesorato hoi depe un e gerten home gere este genonto toi sidanis damenos metepe bodas okus akileus. Okay, I'll repeat this, stopping at the segment so that you can repeat after me. Enema men anastraton o ketoke la ate oio te decatede agorende kales atala on akilius kales atala on akileus toka epifrase teke de a luko lenos here ke de toga dana on hotirat ne skonta sorato hoi de peun ergeten homegere estegononto toi sedanis damenos metepe podas okus akileus. Okay, one last time. Enema men anastraton oiketoke la de oio te decaten dagorende kales satola on akileus toiga epifrasi teke dea lukolenosere ke de toga dana on hotirat ne skontasorato hoi depiun e gerten homegere este genonto toise danis damenos metepe podas okus akileus. Okay, there you have it, folks. I'll see you again soon. Keep working hard and have an enjoyable remainder of the day. Goodbye.